Min intervista li għamilt il-ġimgħa l-oħra, u mbagħad sa nagħtu ħarsa lejn ftit punti ewlenin ta' din l-intervista.
We look at this whole deal from beginning to end. The memorandum of understanding was poor. There was insider information, there was potential collusion, and it bordered on fraud.
Sostna dan l-espert internazzjonali il-professur Colin Lawrence f'intervista ma' Hogg fejn spjega li l-idea li jinħoloq settur ġdid f'pajjiżna ta' medical tourism kienet idea tajba, madankollu kien hemm nuqqas kbir ta' governanza kważi kriminali.
Number one, there was a huge failure of governance. So what they did was, and bordering on criminality, because what these officials did was collaborate with almost like insider trading to get a particular company to get the concessions. And it wasn't out in a public tender. So they are criminally negligent in my view.
Colin Lawrence spiega li uffiċjali tal-gvern ikkollaboraw ma' kumpanija Vitals Global Healthcare sabiex jassiguraw konċessjoni li għalija ma kienx ħareġ tender pubbliku u qal l-uffiċjali tal-gvern ma jistgħux ikunu eżonerati mill-azzjonijiet li wettqu.
I'm not sure that, he's ticked all the boxes, that he knows how to execute a framework of governance and risk management for the government. This was a total failure in every way.
U kritika wkoll ir-rwol tal-ex-Ministru Laburista l-Gvernatur tal-Bank Ċentrali Edward Scicluna hekk kif insista li kien il-Ministeru tiegħu li ffinanzja dan id-deal. Għaldaqstant wara l-imġiba ta' Scicluna ma jemminx li jaffjatwa framework ta' governanza tajba jew idea ta' risk management dan fil-waqt li saħaq li ċertament dan kollu ħalla teba' fuq il-kompetenza ta' Scicluna.
But isn't damage that isn't taken account of. This is a really terrible situation that Malta lands up in outsourcing its healthcare sector, financing it poorly, and lack of governance and risk management. So, yeah, I think this is a stain on his competency.
Colin Lawrence sostna li minkejja li fl-2022 Malta ħarġet mill-greatest tal-FATF u jemmen li xorta waħda f'Malta għatawn governanza f'ira ħafna u insista dwar l-bżonn ta' riforma istituzzjonali b'saħħitha fost l-oħrajn il-ħolqien ta' bord regolatorju, speċifikament fuq il-Ministeru tal-Finanzi biss.
Although they did put them in by 2022 and they were reinstated by the FTAF, they got out of the grey book. But what it shows is there is a stain, on Malta as having poor governance. Just because now they've passed some set of processes does not mean it's robust.
Colin Lawrence saħaq li f'Malta hawn problema ta' infurzar tal-liġi u staqsa kif l-uffiċjali tal-gvern, inkluż il-ministri responsabbli, se jkunu qed jirritornaw lura l-flejjes involuti f'din is-serqa.
The irony of this is that the Bank of Valletta funded some of this and the government are a shareholder in it. So the government officials cannot be exonerated for what they did. Nobody that was involved in that deal should escape accountability. And that is the fact that the courts there did their job in rescinding this entire transaction in no uncertain terms. So when you read the manuscript, the 136 pages, it just says that they failed to fulfill their obligations. There's potential fraud, which includes the collusion I spoke about. They violated every rule. That includes the government and it includes the private companies that participated in this transaction.
What, in your opinion, are the possibilities that Malta will be grey-listed again in the future because the governance is the way it is?
that they need reforms on the institutions. For example, okay, there needs to be whether it's the central bank or whether it's a regulatory authority independent of the Ministry of Finance that reviews all these types of transactions, okay? In this particular case that we're talking about on healthcare, it was not independently reviewed. Well, the valuation committee, or call it the IPO committee, said that everything is fine, which means that they basically failed in their role, and it needs reform. You need to have very strong institutions that will enforce these sorts of governance issues, so that there's fair bidding, that there's proper legal tender, that there is no inside information and no possibility of collusion.
In the failure of the money being repatriated from the US healthcare companies, do you think that it should be reclaimed from government representatives, the past ones and the present?
Definitely, because these are monies that are owed through either negligence or fraud to the people of Malta. And those monies have been taken away. They were supposed to provide services, etc., which were paid for, financed in part by the Bank of Valletta, although that might be a small share, and then delivery of services, which was failed to deliver. They certainly got to go over Stewart and Vitals, and of course then it could go into proceedings and the treaties of Malta with, say, the US, and they should be going after those monies.
Sinjuri, dawk kienu il-punti ewlenin tal-intervista li kellna llum mal-Professur Colin Lawrence. Il-Professur Lawrence huwa espert tal-governanza u kien direttur tal-Bank of England fejn kien jissorvelja il-governanza fil-servizzi finanzjarji. Jekk għandkom xi kummenti ibatuhom permezz tal-WhatsApp fuq in-numru li jidher fuq l-iskrin.